we used to do. Yeah. All right, I'll show you how this wedge. I've been fooling around with a lot of different glazes, but that's I use the DDCs or what she's using on that, but the Myolica gloss decorating colors and fired on there. I've also got like a bucket of, well, I've past 5 or 6 years when I got those electric kilns, I kind of miss making pots, you know, glazed pots, and somewhere I miss making bowls or something. So I make like these for Habitat every January, and there's a couple of things I donate to, and it's kind of an excuse, and I've gotten to where it's kind of a straightforward process, you know, where I can do it without too much. It's a different way of thinking, but so I can whip these out, and I've gotten better with the whole thing. But before I mix that up, before I started collecting some chemicals where I can mix that glaze, I was, you know, I had like boxes. I think Dave gave me boxes of whites, you know, so I had like LM white, LM matte, or, you know, the matte glazes. And then there's some different variations of whites. I had this big bucket, and I just dumped them all in there, you know. And it started out when, at first, it was real matte, you know, and then I wanted it glossier, so I dumped more gloss into it. You kind of mess with the glaze that way, you know. But so I still have a bucket of that, but now it's kind of it's more translucent. This has got a lot of tin and Zircopax in it, and it's a little more translucent, and I use it. I meant to bring a mug for Mike, but anyway, I'll put a coat of white on it. I'll do some wax on it, wax resist, and then I'll dip it in another colored glaze. I've been using like a red, a green, and a blue. So, you know, so I'll paint like a decoration, maybe some lines on with wax over the white, dip that in, and that resists and makes a pattern. Then maybe I'll go over it with the GDCs on top of that. So I don't know. You know, I got this fantasy about making functional pots that really at times messes everything else up. So anyway, so I like this clay. I do add barium carbonate to it because it does scum a little, and I think Amico is going to work on that. Barium carbonate's poison. But I would have trouble with the clay. It was scumming. You ever earthenware scums? Well, barium carbonate's the cure. You couldn't put it in there because they can't put a AP non-toxic clay on it. So anyway, after 20 years, like, you know, at times I would have all sorts of problems. I guess it's laying in a big pile. The rain can go on it and wash the salts down, you know, so you'll get a batch with no salts and a batch with a lot of salt in it, you know, and it forms on, you ever seen scumming on like a brick, a white scum?
Yeah, I've seen that.
You know, it'd be with
like a salt ring?
It's just, that's how that red art works.
Okay.
Scum. So,
Like a salt ring? Is that what you're talking about? The rings that show up in bricks? Or?
well, if any white would be, I guess it would, sometimes if you grab a pot that's scumming, like, the first time I ever saw it, I worked up at the art center. I used to teach up there at Art League, and this guy made these big planters, and he pulled them off the bat, and they were big earthenware planters, and he pulled them off the bat, and they had big peanut rings on the side. You know, that was my first encounter, you know, 30 years ago. I wasn't using the clay at that point, but so that's the cure. And I think the last year that I was using without barium, I lost like $6,000 worth of pots in that year. And I was telling Tracy I was scraping the whole surface, and my surfaces are kind of complicated, and that's a real. But anyway, let's just try it. You know, I figured I just determined, okay, the rat poison, I'd rather die of rat poison. Because you don't notice till you unload the kill. You know, you don't know what's going on. You open the kill up, and it just actually the black that I spray on it would release that edge, so it would just like come off in ribbons, you know, and you're like, but anyway. Tracy, how I dried pots in the driveway, and right in October, I was still drying them outside because it was so warm. My wife came home, I had 3 big plates laying out there, and she just backs out. They just need to be fired. And I said, well, that's $500, you know. Anyway, okay, I cut and slap, just like Dee Schaad. I can't really do the spiral wedging because it just hurts my wrist too bad over time. So basically, I'm just slapping, cutting and slapping. I don't know, Mike hadn't seen it. It works pretty well. You have to do this at least 20 times. Sometimes if I'm doing like jars, I might go 30 on it, or a teapot just to make sure. And if I had some color in here. Anyway, D can 2, 4, 8, 16, 32. It's like you do it 20 times, that's a million. Million cuts. So, back and forth.
Now, it doesn't matter what size or how much clay you're working with, you do that, whether it's 2 pounds or 50 pounds.
Well, like if I'm doing 2 pounds.
Well, I didn't mean that, but I mean, you know, extremes. That's how much is that, 20?
It's 25.
Okay.
So, well, what I'll do if I'm making, you know, I work in numbers, so if I'm making the little boxes, I'll maybe make 10 of them. So I'll wedge up this, and I'll chop out 10 1 pound blobs.
Right.
So I generally don't, unless I'm, you know, decide to, I generally am working with 20 pounds or something. Okay. I don't know, I'm gonna work right here if you guys want to move close as you want or whatever so you can see.
What's first? All right.
Somebody wants to follow him on the wheel, that'd be fine too.
I'll do the big plate first. What I'm doing first is throwing a donut. I don't use back pins. Because over time, your holes get sloppy. At least for me.
Thank you, man.
So I just throw a big donut. I have one of these on my wheel all the time. I don't have those bat pins in there either. I don't know, I don't like the slopping, I don't like any slopping around. I don't,
The wall?
I guess there are ways to deal with that, but there are other reasons I do this too, as you will see. Hey, you know.
Hey, you did. Please throw in a large, he's gonna go throw a large plant for you.
So, okay. So I'm just going to kind of roll through stuff. I don't know, he was talking about maybe you guys want some hands-on time too. Or, so I can throw pretty quick. I probably can't get all of it trimmed, you know, tomorrow. But I'm probably going to come in a little early and prep a couple of things. So you don't have to watch the tediousness.
Wedging clay.
It's exciting. Oh, we didn't do this, the wedging.
Yeah, we missed, we do have it on tape though.
Well, I like the
3 easy payments of $9.
I use the particle board because if you use plywood, it swells this way. Particle board swells, you know, up. What I do is just I wet that a little bit. Ideally, I like that a little bit drier, because it might be a little soft for this, but I hope it doesn't screw up, maybe. Stupid. Center it up. Give it a pound. Make sure I'm on there. And I'll just give me a circle.
Now, what was your, oh, so you made little rings in there to give you a visual to where to place that? Is
I
that
put that ring on here.
on the, I mean, on the underneath side when you set it
That
down?
was.
You just tapped it in the center, or are you centered
Lucked
now?
out.
Oh. Okay.
I wasn't gonna say anything.
What's that?
This is 18.
I'm always about
I'm
to
not
go
doing the large. I'm doing the large. Basically the same thing. I just thought I might run into drawing problems with it. So. I've got booties on it, but then I've got 2 bricks below that now, so I've almost got that much underneath there. And then I sit really up, like up here. And I don't know, over the years I've had a problem right here. It wasn't a hernia. And like just pain for, you know, a few years. And so finally doing this height, you know, about 9 inches below that has worked for me. I don't have the pain anymore.
Oh, okay, good. Thank goodness. So, how about standing up? You don't really, that didn't
I
really,
do
you
have
don't
a-
enjoy that, or?
I have a stand-up wheel. I'm just still not real comfortable with it. You know. I mean,
How about kick? Is that?
I learned on a kick. All right. Well, basically, I just want to be in a position. Normally, I might want to be just a little bit higher, you know, here, just so, you know, I got more leverage on it. You know, you can sit on a phone book or something if you want. So I'm just, you know, using this heel right here. Just come in on the top of it, center it up. Ease off. You know, basically it's all about leverage though. From some people I've seen them use the side of their arm. They get a little more control like that. Sometimes you might put your hands together, it might give you a little more support. But anyway, okay, I get it centered up. Just gonna go down in. I'll do this twice.
How much weight is there?
18.
18? Okay.
I think it'll dry. I didn't think I'd have time to do a 20-pounder. And I still always check it. I want it right about 3/4 of an inch in the center. Thick. Let's pull from the edge, then I center that outside. That's pretty good. Now what I try to do on all the plates is start in the middle, and from that point, I don't really want it to go down. I want it to go up and out. Down and out. Up and in. Does anybody know what that means?
Down and out.
So I just pull this out, I'm using my fingers, go over the top, and just work that out. So I think I about have it. Sometimes I might use the side of my thumb, hold on to it, Just give me a little more smoothness.
So you don't compress with a rib or anything like that on that type
Well,
of, or what you getting ready
There you
to
go.
do? There you go.
we'll just check that. I don't want to leave too much in there. That's about right about 3/4. I'm gonna lose a little when I cut it off. You know, you can leave all sorts of clay on the bottom, but for the diameter of it, probably about the size of this bat. I like to leave enough to put a nice foot in the piece, so, you know, so it's 3/4 out here, it's probably about 1 inch right here. Go underneath, recenter it. Bring it up and out, then I compress the rim. I used to cut those, used to cut my edges on my plates. This way it's a little more like when it's done now, for one, it's easier. I think it goes a little better with the piece too. What I do is scrape it off a couple of times. Without trying to get, I usually put a big rib mark in it, but I'll scrape it off a couple of times. What I'm trying to do is get all of the, you can see right now, there are some rings in here. That clay is a little bit softer from me putting my water on there, and I try to scrape that off a little bit, just because I don't want it showing up later. So I usually give it a few ribs, and then I will bring the rib in it. Sometimes I'll leave it with one. Sometimes if I see too many of those rings in there, I have to disguise it. Okay. Sometimes I'll go 3 times. I don't know, I have different uses for all of it. It just depends on what I want. And to be, now a lot of my plates have a center in the middle, and I think it stems from Dee Schaad. I used to store pots in our room, and there was one little plate that had just this little center in the middle. For some reason I like that. It kind of gives you a huge rim to decorate, and that's where it came from for me. So I don't even think Dee knows that. And I use the tip, this tip, to do this because this isn't sharp enough for me. It kind of matches the little wiggles, kind of match the outside edge. And kind of the trouble, and Kemp just came out with that, and it's like a double one, and I cut one of them off. It was like braided, you know, only with 2. So I cut one of them off, and you know what I mean? There were 2 wires. It was like a decorative braid or something. So I don't know. I used to just take 2 the short ones, and when it bust off, and I'd tie it together, so it always had this little line that went through, and then kind of part of it. It also might help to, I did take the needle tool and score that edge. It just gives you a line to go. Hold it tight. And I try to get that laying down as low as I can.
Wasted about 2 ounces of clay. When we try it, what is it, half of it?
Well, John saw ugliness.
That was a good demo. If we had it, that would have been a classic.
My latest obsession is large flowers.
It's gonna happen.
Yeah. It's called patience and humility.
Some people can tap it. Sometimes I can. I never really learned that. I don't know. I figure I've made over 600 of the big one.
Oh, really?
And I've made at least probably 1,500 of the large one. So
Is that minus the ones your wife ran over?
yeah, about, you know, yeah, made and finished or sold. Or when I first started doing this and changing over from the porcelain, behind my shed I had this big pile of
No. I mean,
trash, you know.
He doesn't work it.
Bad ones.
Yeah.
Down.
I saw that on a Ferguson video. He'd
Yeah,
always
the
walk
Ferguson
out
video,
empty his
Barry
kiln
always
and
showed
throw
it.
them down. I'm like,
Chinese.
oh my
Because
goodness.
it's too hard for him to
Yeah.
much. He did say, yeah, he did one before.
I don't know. You know, I just try to get a good angle on it, and like I say, you probably would, you know, being a little higher. I guess I at least like my wheel to at least be the height of my bat, and maybe for something like this, you know, I might go a little more. I'm just thinking of things that might help.
Does that help centering it more? Or?
Well, I'm going to be able to just lean into it rather than
Yeah.
tensing up as much. But
Right.
you know, it's just a matter of, you know, holding steady. But yeah, if I was up higher,
See, that's what Danielle was.
So it was murderous.
Raise up on a phone book or something. Phone book or a brick.
Adjustable
Yeah.
chairs.
yeah, or maybe.
Especially if your
even-
back's hurting, right?
I almost brought my chair because it's got a screw.
What about one of these,
Mhm.
Jim? Would that be too high? You wanna
Yeah, I'll try. Sorry. That's better, really. See, I can just lean into
Right,
it
that's what I
now.
was thinking, that's what I think.
And you know, it's a more, you know, holding steady. You see what my right hand's doing there. And then the left hand takes care of centering it. And I just have to find that balance in there. If you push down too much, you're going to have to ease off with your left hand a little. If you push in with your left hand, you're going to back off with your right hand. So, and it's easier to center. You know, I think a general rule for centering, you know, if you're making a plate, it's going to be wider, but, you know, it's generally about twice as wide as it is tall. Like I say, if you're making something with a small bottom, you know, you're going to start off with a smaller bottom. That's just a good way to go. And I don't worry about it being perfect. I start off in the center and I just go down in, just holding tight. Might be a good idea to brace on your legs. This way, sometimes either into your side, you know, but you have to have it solid. So generally I just open like this.
But you're doing it, I mean, you're doing the, keeping your hands together at all times when you're touching
Yeah.
clay. Right.
Because they help
Yeah,
stabilize.
it stabilizes stuff. Right.
So I'll start out like that, especially with a wad, you know, 20-pound wad or whatever. I'll find my depth. And generally I get, you know, I want to get this depth determined before I open it up too much, just to save myself the effort of going back over it.
Pushing it back up, have to push back out. If you get too thin, then it's no fun.
and I'm pulling out. And then I'll stop, recenter the outside, hand goes over it, hand on top, and my outside's there, my thumb's underneath, my hand's inside, and we work together.
Mm-hmm.
We have a DVD of this, right, Mike?
Maybe.
Yeah. Well, we got
That'd be
about
great.
4 minutes, and I can only do 30 minutes on a DVD,
Take a break
Switching.
after 30 minutes.
which is fine.
Reload. I didn't have it quite right, so I did pull a little bit more out. And I'm holding I'm holding it at an angle to where I'm not tearing clay off.
Got it? It's right there.
No,
That's not what you're looking
You're looking for
for.
the rip right there.
Ah,
Thanks.
sorry. I guessed wrong.
I just work that out. Like I say, I'm pulling out those wet areas, really. Pretty good. So it starts in here, it goes up and out a little bit to where, say under 3/4 of an inch here, a little over an inch out here, and then I want it to come straight out here. I don't want there to be a break. You know what I mean? Showing my, so I'll generally, we'll start a little bit inside of that, just so I don't get a line there.
Now, what can you do to guard against that collapsing?
I've got this a little too thick. You mean when I lay it down?
Yeah, when bringing it out and having this just fall over.
Well, you have to leave extra clay down here in the
Down
bottom.
below.
And I'm just thinning the edge out. So that's the fine line. I could leave clay in all the way out to here almost to support that, but it's going to dry differently, slower. So when that dries, it's going to tend to cup up. And I'll show you how to fix that. I drop it until it.
Oh, cool.
Well, you can either do that or it just naturally shrinks on the edge first. And does that seem pretty clear about what I've told you?
3
Yeah,
minutes.
it's too thick there. Huh?
We got about 3 minutes before we run out of.
All right.
No pressure, no pressure.
Didn't know you had a director, did you?
I come out, I try to keep this about a straight line too.
Okay.
If it has it more or less. I mean, it's cupping up just a little bit and that'll support it too. But more or less a straight line, and then I'll lay it down. And when I'm laying it down, I'm really not thinning it out anymore. I guess it gets a little thinner as it's laying down on the edge. But it's fairly thin.
So what would you say the thickness of that wall right there is?
Right here?
Yeah.
Well,
Half inch, maybe?
yeah, it's probably almost like 3/4 down the bottom and then half out here. Is it over? How much time, Mike?
2 minutes.
2 minutes.
So you can clean it up a little bit.
Good timing here.
So you're supporting that outside edge? with your
Yes, I
hand.
bring my hand underneath it as I'm dragging that rib across. And if I was dragging the rib across and just making a perfectly flat plate, I am getting a little twist through here, which means I need to have that smooth, because I have to really be done with it after I've drug that rib through there a few times, because I've got to hurry up.
You shouldn't ask.
There's a signal for that.
Yeah. I know the one was, we have the one day,
That's the one.
we forgot about that.
You have to edit that out.
That's,
before you
bring me a
put it
shock
on.
top.
I do make some without a center in there, but I've got a lot of little routines I do with that. Sometimes it's good to maybe go around a little bit before you pull it. Might make it easier. Sometimes that pulling that wire is enough to drop that lift down. But that's about 22 inches. That's the size of the bat. I've got
In your hand, huh? Mm-hmm.
some of these are Amico bats. I threw that video with those 2 extra large plates, and Dave gave me 4 bats for that. So that's what these Amico bats are, and the other ones I just cut out. But some of, this is like used 25 years old. Some of them are just,
Well,
How many hundreds?
They don't even have those anymore, Jim. You can't even.
oh really?
Yeah, I'm upset about that.
Well, you just cut out a
Very
particle
reasonable.
board.
Well,
Go buy
yeah, okay.
I need to cut some new, because some of these are,
I know they get like
well,
crumbly
like just
and nasty.
from sitting on the edge,